My name is Darian, and I have been asked a couple times by a couple different people to do kind of like makeup tutorials and step-by-steps and give you the tea and whatnot, so here I am. So just to get right into it, I'm going to start by prepping my face with this Professional Pore Primer by Benefit. It really just helps everything go on a lot smoother. Honestly, with these weather changes and everything, I can't keep my skin like a consistent, oh, it's oily or it's dry or it's always changing. So this just kind of helps keep my base like a consistent canvas to put stuff on, if that makes sense. I actually just switched to, what the hell am I listening to? I hate this. Okay, so I actually just switched from sunscreen to primer. I've been using sunscreen for the past like year as my primer because, you know, it's moisturizing and it gets the job done, and it got me to wear sunscreen. So next, I'm going in with my Fenty Beauty Foundation, shade Really Freaking Light. Just kidding, it's 120, but I doubt any of y'all will be my shade. You know, I just talked about using sunscreen for the last year, so I'm real light, it's okay. So I like focusing kind of on the bottom portion of my face first, and then we'll work up, because I can always add more product. I don't like overusing product for sure. It's always really unfortunate when you accidentally put way too much on your brush and you're like, oh, put it back, put it back. She was like pumping out money every single pump. You're like, I didn't mean to pump out that much money. Not today, Queen. Okay. So, by the way, I love this brush. I did the whole trying beauty blenders, trying this, that, and the other. I like beauty blenders, they're okay. I love this brush. It was like $8 from like H-E-B or Walmart. All of my other brushes are a lot bougier, but this one gets the job done. I love it. And honestly, when it comes to your foundation, it's all about massaging it and rubbing it in and getting it blended. So I do have little fine lines and everything that I try to buffer out. And this is pretty much helping me buffer my face. So like I said before, I'm gonna add a little bit more of my foundation. Go up on my forehead, drag it down to my nose, around my eyes. So I would love if you guys could let me know even more stuff that you would like me to see. Of course, right now I'm just doing like a little basic, but hopefully I get better at this and you guys want to see more. I have not figured out how to use my camera yet, but since I started asking everyone if they wanted to see videos, and everyone started getting like a little excited about it, I was like, well, I'm gonna use my phone for now. So next, what are we gonna do next? This, oh, I usually do brows next. So I came up with like this super hackadoo for my brows. It's the easiest thing. First off, your brows are way easier to fill in and do if they're plucked and everything. It's actually way easier to pluck your eyebrows if you have makeup on them, because you already kind of have your border and your guide and you just kind of pluck the strays. It's perfect. But we're not plucking right now. We're just doing makeup. I love going in and kind of, it's everyone else's like kind of finishing step, but I like doing it kind of before everything. I like going in with concealer and cleaning up my brows first, and then going in with color. For some reason, it just works way better for me, and it gets it done a lot faster because I am notorious for taking way too long on my eyebrows. So, you do not have to be super precise with this. Seriously, you're just concealing where you do not want color. You're giving yourself kind of like in a coloring book, you're giving yourself those lines. And just blend this down. We'll blend it out more later, so don't worry about it. But for now. Can y'all see? Kind of? Okay. Ah, there's my dog. Okay. Yep, I start with down and then I go up and around. Blendy, blendy, blendy. I'll kind of blend it out with my finger right now, and then I'll blend it out with my finger more after I actually have the product on. And then we gotta talk about the product, because, So, I do have the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, and I do love it. It is a wonderful, wonderful product. It will stay on your face all day, but this is my tried and true. Started doing makeup with this, and it works, and it's fast. So I actually switched back to just using eyeshadow. I found a nice eyeshadow color that works for my brows, and I use shadow. Because honestly, it's very, very foolproof. I'm not going to get into a swimming pool. I'm not gonna go work out. If you are one of those people who are a lot more active, not right now because it's the apocalypse, but definitely get used to using like a pomade or the Brow Wiz by Anastasia too. But this works for me, and it's way easier. So if you're just trying to start out learning how to fill in your eyebrows, this is a lot more forgiving and a lot more foolproof than something like this. This spreads out way easier. If you mess up, you can just bloop it away. This is more, it's a pomade, so when you try to like wipe it away, it gets everywhere, which is a little bit harder to correct than a shadow. So when I go in with my shadow, I always start in this inner corner right here, and I start filling out this bottom line, and all I'm doing is enhancing my shape and kind of filling in those gaps to make it look a lot more snatched. So, a little product on your brush, definitely tap it off. I know people might feel silly or like you're a try-hard or like whatever, but that excess product getting on your brush and not tapping it off will start to fall out all over your face. So like, just tap it off. It's not that big of a deal. Super duper important to have an eyebrow angle brush for this too. I have this one, it's a Jeffree Star brush, and then I also have this Anastasia one. They're both amazing. I'll use either one of them, it doesn't matter. This one's just pretty, and it's Jeffree, so I use this one. I'm sorry if y'all can hear my songs. I didn't want it to be like awkwardly quiet, so I put on like a Spotify Your Top Songs from like 2017. That's why a random country song was on earlier, because I was like hanging out with a person who listened to country at the time and they got a hold of my playlist. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not really vibing with this music right now. Sorry. Okay. Favorite thing about these brushes is the spoolie. Oh my god. Lifesaver, lifesaver. If you've noticed, I keep brushing out after I paint. I brush and I paint and I brush, because your hair lies in different directions. So you just like painting in one direction and then just leaving it as is, it's gonna move throughout the day, honestly, it will. And then you'll be looking weird. So I brush, 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 blend, blend, blend. Make sure it doesn't look too patchy or too strong in certain areas. And then I always reference multiple mirrors. I have this little one in front of me, and then I have a big one behind the camera. I back up, I look, I'm like, is it looking a little wonky right in this area? No, we're looking cool, we're looking snatched. Okay, cool. So then I'm gonna blend out that concealer just a little bit more, just so we don't feel cakey anywhere. And so it's just a little bit more seamless with my skin and my brow. And then I'm going to do the other brow off camera real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the next step is so important. Now, every single time I'm doing a guest, if it's their wedding or prom or whatever, usually, honestly, a lot of the times it's my older guests, because I don't know this little hackadoo either. is concealer. Concealer, concealer, concealer. It's got to be at least a shade and a half to 2 shades. I like a little light, so I usually do at least 2 shades lighter. But if you're not comfortable with that, at least a shade and a half. Lighter than your skin tone, right under your eyes, here, here, here. Every time I do this to a client, they're like, oh my God, can I take you home with me? I look so much younger, I look photoshopped, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, concealer, it's real easy. You don't even have to get fancy stuff. You could get it from stuff. Oh, that's another very, very important thing that I need to talk about. There we go. Is, honestly, I have been playing with makeup so long. Since I was like a preteen. I freaking love makeup. My mom was always wearing and doing her makeup, and I thought she was gorgeous, and I thought it was awesome. So I always watched her, and I've always been really, really interested in makeup. So I've always played with it, and I feel like I hit a plateau in my artistry for a while. I didn't feel like I was progressing anymore as an artist. And I felt this way for a while until, believe it or not, and I know, but I'm not, I upgraded my products. I was using all products from drugstore and H-E-B and Walmart and whatnot, and you know, the little sponge like eyeshadow things that it comes with. And girl, you know, honestly, I was getting it. I was. People were asking me to do their makeup in high school. It was awesome, but I couldn't get better. I just stayed as good as I was. And my look became very, very quickly outdated, and I didn't realize that until somebody called my ass out in cosmetology school and was like, honey, you need to learn how to blend your eyeshadow. And I was like, this bit? And then I was like, ooh. Called me out though, honestly, read me like a book, and I learned to blend my eyeshadow. So, I did explain what I was doing. Instead of doing any sort of swiping motions, I'm doing stippling motions to keep the product in one spot. I don't want to move this up and around. I want it to stay right here because light attracts the eyes, just like in hair. On your face, it's the same. We want to bring attention here, 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 here. So you're going to try to keep the products in those spots. Here, we're dragging it all the way out. Don't be shy to bring it up and around right here. Same thing with this side. This, we're gonna keep, starting to dry a little bit, but we're gonna keep it in this area. And then the nose, I kind of just do a little pop, 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 pop. It's not a really good description, but like, y'all can see. Okay, so after that, I'm going to go in with my Jeffree Star concealer, setting powder. I do not have the translucent, I have the fair because again, I like it to be a little bit extra. So I go in with the fair and with my Airspun pad and tap it right on. It's okay, we're going to bake. Leave it chunky, girl. We're gonna focus on that later. Don't even worry about it. It's gonna look worse before it gets better, just like spring cleaning. And then, because foundation always leaves my face a little bit kind of like tacky, before I ever go in with concealer, my God, I keep saying concealer. Contour, I kind of set my foundation and concealer that I already have. Now I just set the concealer that I just placed with a bright setting powder. Now I'm going to go in with the translucent Airspun powder and a big fluffy brush, and I'm going to buff around my whole face just to give myself a good, nice, even base for my concealer. My God, for my contour to go on. Do makeup artist things. Don't worry about it. No one's judging you. We're avoiding those places that we just packed on that bright, and we're just swiping around everywhere else. Same fluffy brush. I'm gonna go in with 2 of the dark colors. It really doesn't, it doesn't matter which ones to me, honestly. I've got a pretty neutral undertone, so yeah. Then, my cheekbones are very obvious, so I don't usually have to like, but I do kind of like perch my lips to kind of bring this in, just to kind of have a little bit more of a boundary. And I'm going in really light-handed. You've got to be gentle with the pressure that you apply with the brush to your face. The more pressure that you apply, obviously, you're going to apply a lot more product. That's going to be a lot harder to blend out. It's possible, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. So light pressure going in. And again, using kind of that buffing motion with a very, very light pressure. I'm going down to about right here. When you smile and it like bowls out right there, you want to stop about right here. If you go down too much, stop. Your face will look dirty. Same thing on the other side. Sorry about my dogs. And then to get reference points on where I want the product to lie always, I frequently twist my head around to see like my bone structure, and like you want to apply this to something that is a 3-dimensional thing. You're not painting a piece of paper, you're painting your face. So don't just paint flat. Move around, move your hair around, see what you're gonna look like in different angles and go there. That's what's gonna make it look a lot more natural, which sounds silly because you're doing a lot more work, but it's gonna make it a lot more natural and a lot more seamless. After I do the cheeks, I pull it up into the forehead. I do have bangs, but on the off chance that, you know, the wind blows my bangs away, they just fly away. No, off my forehead. I don't want my big ass forehead gleaming, shining proudly. Now this is just kind of like my base contour and everything. I always go back in after I add more color to my face and add more color. But doing all of that right offhand without anything else on your face, just that white ghosty foundation with the concealer, it looks very, very frightening. So I kind of ease myself into it, and that's what I suggest you to do too, because it's a lot easier to take away than it is to add more. Same concept that I use with hair. Another important part is to follow that jawline. Obviously, I'm not trying to hide anything down here, but I do want my face to blend in with the rest of my body. So, following my jawline, and then I'm gonna go down my neck. Delilah, hush. My landlord is doing outside work, so my dogs are not very happy about that. If you're going to be wearing your hair up or anything, I do also suggest to kind of bring this around just in this area. Also, if you're going to be wearing your hair up and you're going to be photographed, I would suggest when you're applying your foundation to also put it on your ears. That sounds really strange, but I always do this no matter what with my clients, because that blood pressure goes up, girl. Your ears start glowing like Rudolph's nose. It is not cute. So we just avoid that. Stop. I'm gonna try to get her to hush, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I don't want to say everything thus far has been super easy, but because everyone's on a different level of makeup, and it's taken me a lot of practice and a lot of trial and error. But this next part is a little bit more difficult, and it does take a little bit more practice, so don't clock me for it not blending, and don't worry if yours doesn't blend, girl, it's okay. We're all figuring it out. Nose contouring. So, A really important thing to remember when you're contouring your nose is to, depending on how squeezed and snatched and not wanting to breathe you want to look, remember to never ever ever put your contour on the outside of your nose. Always make sure it's right on the inside, because if you're putting it right over here, you're creating a shadow, and that's what's going to make this part of your nose look wider. You don't want this to look wider, you want this to look smaller, so you need to put your shadow in closer. So I like to go in with a finer brush and kind of paint a line, just sketching it out. A lot of what makeup is sketching and buffering, a lot of it. So again, don't get discouraged when you're trying, because it looks worse before it looks better. Same thing with hair. Ever getting your hair done and you're like, oh, it looks bad. Just keep trucking along, it'll look better. So still using the exact same concept that I've said. All of this extra product, gonna brush it out. Don't worry about it, it's gonna happen. Also, I'm shaking just a little bit because I'm a little nervous, so don't mind me. This is going to look very, very extreme until it doesn't. So again, 1 second. And you can skip this part. You can skip the brows, you can skip whatever part you want. This is a very, very nice neutral, stop, don't bark, face tutorial. So connect from my eyebrow all the way down, eyebrow all the way down. Line right here, line right there. Again, it all just depends on how squeezed you want this to look, but the more squeezed that you want this to look, honestly, the more fake it's going to look. So I try to still go into a little believable realm, cause, you know. Anyway, so to take these bigger globs off, I do like to go in just with my finger and kind of do a little press rub and buff it out with my finger. And then I'll go in with a small but fluffy brush and literally start buffing it out, blending it out, drawing right over the lines. There's nothing on this brush except maybe some translucent powder, which is freaking perfect. And this is exactly why you don't need to get scared when you're drawing on these lines, because look, I'm scrubbing the lines out. You don't even need to worry about nothing. And then you can repeat this as much as you want, but again, I am no nose contour expert. I just watch a lot of RuPaul, so I learned what I learned and I'm moving on with it. So to clean this up and make it again look even further snatched, you go in with a lighter, brighter powder. Again, I'm going to use my Jeffree Star. I'm gonna get a little powder out of there for myself. And then I will use this little angled eyeshadow brush. This is my favorite brush. We'll talk about her in a minute too. But she is angled. Go right in here. Put quite a bit of product on my brush. And then I will press it onto where I want it. And then we'll blend that out later too. Press, 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 press. So we're pressing it on exactly what I was talking about earlier. You don't want your shadow to get on the side of your nose. So we're pressing it on the side of our nose to bring out that, that shadow that we just created, to make that shadow look dimensional. So again, I am recording this on my phone. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to edit it on my phone too. It's gonna come out how it's gonna come out. I will get better at it. Don't you worry about that either. But here's our nose contour. Again, I constantly look in my small mirror and my big mirror, and I move my head around to make sure it's translating how I'm wanting it to. There's nothing worse than doing a whole bunch of work and then looking in the mirror and being like, oh my god, that is really dark, or that is really light. I thought I was going in, or I thought that, you know, whatever, and it doesn't look good. So constantly check mirrors, multiple mirrors. There's nothing worse than getting into your car, pulling down that mirror, and like, Jesus Christ, what did I do? I want to just wipe this off with my shirt, which I've done. So, with my clean, fluffy brush, I'm now going to swipe away this powder that I just put on. And with that, we have our nose contoured. One last face thing that I'm going to do before I move on is blush. I'm so happy that I finally added this into my routine. I don't know why I went so long without it. I feel like I have used blush on and off my whole life. It really has all just depended on whether or not I've had it. So I have it now. It's just a really, really cheap one from Sephora because I needed something. And I got it, and it's good. So, if y'all could stop. So, with my big fluffy brush, I'm going to take, I have a lot more brushes, by the way. I just like using the same brushes. Right here. Smile. Circle. Pull it up. Repeat as many times as needed. Now, I've noticed a lot, and I use really, really good products I have for a really long time, so I've noticed a lot when it comes to contour and blush. You'll put it on and it'll feel and look really, really heavy, and then it will kind of wear down a little bit throughout the day. So kind of same with hair. You want to kind of formulate a shade, I'd say a half a shade darker, because it's gonna rub off. Even if you set it, I don't know what it is. I'm also very, 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 very white, so you'd think it would stay more, but it comes off. I wouldn't say my skin is more oily or dry. I'd say it's pretty normal, and again, just formulate a little bit darker. If you go outside and it's too dark, you can always take a napkin or your happy little shirt and do a little rub scrub, but that's my advice. Because I do hate going outside and realizing that I'm way too pasty, and then I'm like, where did all my makeup go? I did all this work and I look like a ghost, or like I'm sick. And right now, it is not a good time to look sick, sister. It's the worst time to look sick. So we're putting on makeup. Blush, 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 blush. I like putting it on my forehead, adding more dimension to your face, adding more color, because ideally, no, we're not a perfect flat, I was gonna say white canvas, but not white. Me, I'm super white. We're not a perfectly flat color, so we made everything perfectly flat, and then we added the dark, and then we wanna add a little bit of more color, more red, to give your face a little bit more life than just the contour and the highlight give. So I just again, with a gentle hand, go over, still focusing on keeping all of those really, really light and bright areas really light and bright. I'm just going over everything that's not that specific area. Same with my nose. If you go outside into the sun, you would get hit by the sun and have a little sunburn, like right here, right here, right here. So I do like to kind of add that with blush. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, my landlord came and did a leaf blowy thing. It was really loud. So next is eyeliner. So, just to kind of help you guys out, this is how I started, because my eyes are very hooded. I do have a lot of extra skin. If I close my eyes, everything I do with eyeshadow does disappear. A way that I really got down how to map out where I want my wings to lay, because I do have this extra skin, is I would go in with a light colored contour and an angled brush and kind of give myself a place to go. Especially if you don't even know where you want it. Do you want them big? Do you want them up? Do you want them soaring or flying or landing? What do you, okay, so anyway, we're gonna go in and map out where we're going to draw our eyeliner, like so. This way you can always blend it out, buff it out, don't like it, hate it, start over. Perfect. No big deal. Makeup should not be stressful. If it's stressful, you're doing something wrong. And like, honestly, girl, like, don't be stressed out about makeup. It's not that big of a deal. Like, take a breath, take a step back, watch a few videos, try again. You got nothing but time, no excuses. And if your excuse is that you don't have good makeup, there are really good videos on inexpensive, practical makeup that you can use. Go check out Jeffree Star's page, and you can find out really, really good, like, drugstore and expensive makeup. So anyway, I'm thinking that this is a good... she's a little bit higher. Again, I always close, look in different mirrors. If ever even you're like, what's wrong with my eyebrows, or what's wrong with this, that, and the other, take a picture, look at the picture, zoom in. You'll be able to see way easier what's wrong than if you're just looking at yourself. You're gonna stare at yourself, you're just gonna get mad. And then you're gonna be like, wipe the shit off, I'm mad. So, here I always start this way and then going this way. I do try my hardest to not stretch and pull my face, but sometimes I have to, again, just because I do have that extra skin. If I don't, the color will skip, because my skin folds get in the way, so it's not a consistent. So I will be kind of stretching my skin every so often, but I do try my hardest to avoid that because it is not good, and I do try to avoid wrinkles. It's also really, really important what eyeliner you decide to use, because if I switch from this one to another one, it's like I have to learn how to use that product all over again. It's, even if it's one that I've used before, like, it's so hard to switch eyeliners. So find one that you love to use and buy a few of them. Gentle hand, like firm but gentle, if that makes sense. I'm honestly using and working every part of this angled tip. I don't just paint with the tippity tip of it. I do start kind of drawing with the whole thing when I'm filling in eyeliner. That was weird. So don't worry about just using the tip. Use the whole thing. That's what she said. And also, if you're going to be following this with eyelashes, you do not have to worry about getting it perfect, because once you glue those babies down, it might be a little bit wonky, and you go right back over it with more eyeliner. Don't even worry about it, sister. If, however, you aren't going to be wearing eyelashes, do worry about it being perfect and symmetrical. I am going to be wearing eyelashes for the sake of teaching, so I'm not gonna worry about being too perfect, but that looks pretty good to me. Gonna do the other one off camera, be right back. Done. Okay, so next we'll go in with some mascara. I love this Roller Lash by Benefit. Just to kind of give your face a little bit more color if you're trying to do something quickly but effective. You can also, which I'll show you and I'll do, go in with your contour palette as well. You don't even have to worry about actually grabbing eyeshadow, because this is just a very basic, I'd like to say hurry up and go, but we've been here for a minute now. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, oh, I remember. Angled brush, contour palette, middle shade. We're just gonna go in, brow bone, where that bone hits, we're just gonna fill her in. You can go in with a little bit more pigment at first, because this is a contour palette. It blends out really, really easily, so just kind of map out where you want it to lay on both sides, and then scrub your brush on a clean towel and blend her out. A little bit more pigment. Okay, so I'll show you how to do highlight, but first, so we can have this waiting on us, I'll show you lashes. I don't have any new lashes to pull out of the box and show you how to do all of that, but when you get your eyelashes, they're going to be too wide for your eyes. Always, always go in with scissors and trim them. Don't do too much. You can always do more later. So trim a little bit, measure it to your eye without glue. If it's still too long, cut it a little bit more, measure it again. You'd rather it be just a little too short than a little too long. If it ends up being a little too short, place it a little bit further out on your eye than further into your eye. But yeah, definitely trim your lashes. And then we're doing this step first so we can wait on them to dry a little bit. I like getting the glue and putting a dab of it on a surface and then scraping the back of my glue thing with it. And then applying the glue to the eyelash that way. That way I can really control how much product goes on the lash. Because when I used to apply it from the actual thing itself, I would apply way too much glue. And then we'd be here forever waiting for my lashes to dry. And when I have time for them to dry, I put them on and glue get my eye and the lash would peel up and it just, no. Just do this. So while we're waiting for that glue to get dry and tacky, not dry, but tacky, like me, we will go in with some highlight. I like an extreme highlight. I know some people are like, looks like there's glitter on your face. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Hi. Now I'm throwing things. Okay. So I'm gonna go in with more of a powdery highlight first. I'm gonna go in this James Charles palette and get the shade Ringlight because I'm really, really light. If you're a little any darker than me, I would go in with the shade right here. I can use it too, but this one works best because I'm very, very light. And place that right where that bone separates. Both sides. You're not gonna really see too much. But we're gonna go in with the second highlight afterwards because again, we're extra, we're bougie, we love that. Stop. So then we're gonna go in with Miss Diamond Wet, straight in with our fingers. Pete, stop. And do kind of like a press scrape motion to kind of like work it into your skin. I am using a little bit more pressure than I have been applying with all the brushes and everything. Again, do that where you want the highlight to live. I don't ever mind doing too much because again, I love it, so whatever. And then at this point, our lashes should be about ready. So when you've let them actually dry, oh, and I've worn these before too. So when you pull them out of the box, this one is a little bit less shaped because again, I've worn these, so she's looking a little raggedy. You're gonna want to kind of pull them in a C shape to kind of form them to where they'll lay better on your eye. If you don't do that, the corners will start to pop up, especially if you haven't bought more pricey eyelashes, which I don't really ever invest in my lashes too much because I'm investing in my other makeup, so I'll just stick with Kiss from H-E-B, thank you. So then, we'll just pop her right on. She should be tacky enough to where she'll just stick. And then you're gonna use your eyeliner as a border for where you're placing her. And then just get your little fingers in there and work her. She doesn't have to live right where you put her. You manipulate it. Makeup is very, very forgivable. What you see is not what you have to get. You can wipe it off and start over. You know how many freaking times I have wiped off and started over every single day of my life? And everyone's like, your makeup's so snatched. I'm like, girl, I did this 5 different times today. Thank you for the compliment. Like, I tried. Same thing with this side. I love also using the Duo white glue instead of the darker one, because this one is a lot more forgiving. You see how I just kind of boop and put a little bit of that glue on right here? Now, if we were working with black glue, I would have a black little smudge right there, and I would be pissed. And I would be... So we like the white one. It dries clear. It's amazing. A lot of people beg to differ. Whatever. That's stupid. They're stupid. Because, again, you can always go back over if the filminess is a problem, which I never really have a problem because I don't apply them sloppy. You can go back over with eyeliner and fill in those kind of weird filmy gaps, and boom, it's perfect. Like, you don't need black. Just use white. And then I think the last step, while I let the glue kind of dry, because this is still a little bit wet, I don't want to go in with another wet product because it's going to make it slippery again. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to go in with some lip liner. Though I have gotten my lips done a couple times, I still overline just like every other makeup artist in the world. My lips are easier to fill in because I have them gotten done. I have gotten them done a couple times. So if you're filling your lips in and you're looking a little ridiculous, and you're comparing yourself to other people, don't, because we have paid for it to be easier to fill in our lips. So like, don't worry about it. Just practice and maybe save if you're into that. So that being said, I like to start with the shape right around the Cupid's bow to kind of establish how plump I want them that day. So just observe. And again, makeup is very forgivable. So like, go in there with your fingers, smudge it out. Like, not a big deal. So yeah, I like to kind of start and establish in the center and then out in to kind of connect all of the dots. Now, lipstick's one of those things that, again, more recently, like nose contour, added into my routine. It takes a lot of practice, so much practice. So do not get discouraged, just keep trying. I have a ton of lipstick, but I'm doing this again just for the, to show you that you can do a full face with very, very minimum products and minimum steps. This just is taking a while because I'm explaining it. Alright, so same thing with the contour, same thing with the eyeliner. I constantly look in different mirrors, close my lips, and look at them from different angles to see if it's looking freaking stupid, and if it is, just keep working out it, baby. Rub my lips together, and then I'll probably just put a nice little gloss right on top of that to tie it all in. We'll use this Morphe gloss that Miss Sarah gave me. Ooh, is that the vibe? Okay. And then after the gloss, I know this feels like a lot of steps, but once you get your routine going, it's just boom, 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 and you're out of the door. I think this whole thing usually takes me like probably 15 minutes if I am being a little bit pickier. I can get it done faster, but I'm gonna look like I got it done faster. So just wake up a little bit earlier if you need to. I mean, if you're going anywhere right now, I don't really think you can. So I like going in and cleaning up everything with a concealer. Again, bringing that light there, it's going to make my lips pop, and it's going to really clean up these lines to make my overlined lips look a little bit more believable. Just clean the brush off, and now I'm going to like kind of spread it all down, and then I will be done. And then let me know what you guys want to see outside of what I just did. I would freaking love to record it for you. All right, so this is my makeup routine. Basic makeup routine. All done. I would not be ashamed to go out in public if public was a thing anymore and rock this with, you know, my name on it, because I think it's pretty cute. It's really basic and really pretty and really soft. And I don't want to say really natural because obviously I have a lot of product on my face, but I'd say natural in a sense of you guys have probably seen the other stuff that I do, and this is a lot more of a soft, pretty look than a bold, extreme, Pinteresty look. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and let me know what you guys want to see. Thank you, bye!